Hello crafters, this is Suzanne from A Creative Muse, and this is my Copic refill, Copic cleaning, change a nib, introducing a new nib video. Right now I need to refill a few of my markers, so I said let me do a video on the refilling. If I'm going to refill it, I'm going to clean it. And also there's one of my markers that I need to change the nib, so I'll do that as well. And also introduce you to a new nib idea. Yeah. Alrighty folks, let's get started. In a future video, I'll do the Copic storage ideas. I'm not a Copic expert. I was going to take their Copic certification workshop years ago. I should have done it. But I'm not a Copic expert, but I'm a very good Copic student, especially after going through a ton of videos because of the pandemic. I had to, I was coloring, and then now all of a sudden I'm refilling markers. Alrighty, so let's talk about when you should refill a marker, okay? And I'm going to zoom the camera down now. There's two ways of knowing when to refill your marker. One, you can weigh your marker. But are you going to keep weighing it every single time? But the weighing it is what tells me definitely I need ink. But two, you'll notice when you're coloring, it starts to get splotchy. So let me show you what splotchy is. Here are two images from a recent Trinity Stamps haul. So this bear was colored first in some E50 markers. See how nice and smooth and happy he is? This is the second bear colored in E50 markers. And I was going a little bit darker, and then some of the markers that were here, I noticed here it wasn't blending as good. But then I was like, okay, maybe I need to switch it, but not quite yet. I should have listened to my mind when my mind said, yeah, do a refill. I didn't. So let me show you what splotchy is. On the bear, actually, it looks pretty good. Right there. See those dots? That's when you know your ink is getting splotchy. It won't blend well. Now, it looks kind of nice on this image because it's sort of looking like texture. So I may end up still using this image. But notice down here at the body how it's smooth, and then all of a sudden up here, you're seeing those little splotches, those little dots. When you keep coloring on it, instead of it blending, they start kind of doing this weird resisting thing. Let me show you another image. That was a very painful image for me because I had almost finished. This one. This is a Hello Bluebird, friendship image. So I colored her first. She's fine. Colored her second. When my ink started giving me problems right there. Can you see the splotch happening? So then I said to myself, well, let me go a few shades of a darker tone and maybe I can save it. See what was happening? Here is smooth, here it's splotchy, here is crazy splotchy and shiny, and I couldn't save it. That's what happens. The ink won't push and pull and be smooth and velvety anymore once it starts running out. It gets dry. And only in this case did it kind of work because of the fact that, it's looking like he has texture, but his body is smooth and then here is all messed up. Alrighty? So let me show you the two markers that I need to refill. This one, I put two pieces of washi. So my E51 and E53. Now, there are a few videos I watched, and I was doing it, following a few, and then I watched a lot more. And then what I did is basically took a whole bunch of people's advice and came up with a way that works for me. Alrighty, now the newer versions of marker refill, including the colorless blender. You can buy this small one. Obviously, that's different than this size. You can see the difference. Even the old refill, I have a few of these, but I don't have many because I was only getting them for skin tone coloring. So this is a E11 marker. These are my E50 refills because I never had to refill them before. This is a more streamlined refill, but you do get less in it. This one you get a lot, but this one had a higher price point than this. This is like twice the price of that. Now if you bought this, if you could even find it, they sell it for triple the price now. This is just a big bottle of this. My Copic colorless blender marker, and I've had to refill that one a few times actually. This is very, very, very hard to find now because of the pandemic. It's normally $12 to $15 a bottle. This is my bottle from 10 years ago. You can find this on eBay at almost $50. I know, but it will last you a very long time. I've had this, like I said, 10 years. If you do get this, the smartest thing I did, because this is alcohol, it comes with this stopper. I kept the stopper. Keep the stopper in it, just to preserve everything a little bit longer. Can't hurt to use it. I'm just using it because this is air that's left in there. All right, let's get into refill. One video, and both of them will show you the same thing. So this is a marker that needs to be refilled. I just put a piece of washi so I can remember which one needs to be refilled. Alrighty, I'm going to also take one of my, yes, this is a craft mat that I cut down to size. Tim Holtz Ranger craft mat. Where is my, you don't have to have this, but I got it just for my sanity, because the first time that you do this, you're going to get like, oh my gosh. And I was very nervous about it too. That's why I was watching so many videos. This is the Copic tweezer. Alrighty, and I will put links to the best place to get Copic's markers, nibs. These are replacement nibs. The best place to get Copic products, whether it be a marker, refill, tweezer, replacement nibs, Scrapbook Pal. I find them to be pretty good, and they also give free shipping at $50 or $60. You take your, I can do it by my finger, but why should I? I use this. And then you would refill here. What number is this? And always double check your number, please. I did that once. Had to go out and buy another marker. Very, very painful. E53. Now, there was one video where I was watching and the lady did 25 drops should be fine. Did that, was coloring, got the ink dump. Ink dumping is you're coloring, trying to stay within the line, and all of a sudden a big splash of ink come out because this was too full. So I decided to start weighing it. This is another take. This works better for me. So this is a food scale, and I set the unit in grams, okay? With both caps off, this should measure 9 grams. It's 8 grams. So there is a little bit missing. 7 grams, oh, you are definitely, your marker is like crazy dry. Your nib here will probably start looking a couple shades lighter. Your marker is mad scratchy. So why do I have a food scale? No, I did not buy my food scale just for my Copic marker. I bought my food scale because I was on a fad diet. And then when I saw that I could fill it up and weigh it, then I went ahead and then took out my old trusty food scale that I got from Amazon. I'll look and see if I can find that, because that scale works very well and I've had it for a couple years. Just a little food scale. Alrighty, so I'm gonna do a couple drops. You're gonna take this. This is the, see, I'm making sure that I do both of them are the right number, E53. Make sure your caps match. And then you're gonna just take this and you're gonna drop. Let me make sure that I am nice and focused so you guys can see. I'm gonna drop it at an angle. Pardon my shaky finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, I know, counting with you. 15, I'll stop. Now, we do the refill, and this was across the board, all refills that I saw, with the chisel. This is the most underused tip. You use a chisel tip for like coloring backgrounds. I mean, there are some Copic artists, some card makers too, that are like pretty much artists that are using this to color backgrounds and stuff. Most of us use the brush nib. If you keep using this with the brush nib, you're messing up that nib. I'm going to put this back on. I used my finger that time, and now I'm going to zero it out and measure. Still at 8. Refill again. Pull it back out, and you can hear that's using my finger. I don't like that. I prefer But I was just showing you. If you don't want to get the tweezer, you don't have to get the tweezer. You can save your money, use your finger. Just go for it. Don't do this end. Let's go another 10. Now, I could push this in there and dump it, but no, I want to see the drops and count the drops. Drops is what you use to refill this thing with, not just pouring away. Because then you're going to overfill it, oversaturate it. Now, I'm going to have to change this nib, but I'll show you in a second why. Going back again. Maybe I do need 20 drops. But I am taking my time. That's the point of me doing it this way. Because you don't want to, here I am using this to color something, and then I get the dreaded dump. Because it will ruin everything that I'm coloring. Once that happens, it's hard to get it off. It's going to be a big blob of ink dropping out. Let me go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I'm stopping right here. See, now I'm at 9 there with the E53. Alrighty, so now I'm at 9 ounces. That means that my marker is full. I can take a little bit of a paper towel. Now, the mistake I made before, the best way to clean your marker is with the Copic Colorless blender. There was a UK video that I watched. She had something called Copic something cleaner. I was like, oh my gosh, let me get that. I think it's banned here in the States because I could not find it. It's not even listed anywhere here. You know, like how sometimes there's stuff sold other parts of the world that's just not here because of whatever. Ozone layer, EPA, who knows? And I saw that it was called Copic Cleaner. So I just nixed that. But I know I can definitely use the Colorless blender. Some videos will show you this, using isopropyl alcohol. Yes, this will clean the ink. If that isopropyl alcohol at 91%, not any lower, touches any of these nibs, it's going to ruin the whole marker. And at first I thought, oh, I can use the isopropyl and just wipe around here. And I was doing that, messed up one of my markers, had to go out and buy another one. And I like my Copic Sketch markers because I can see the numbers. I have a few chows, but not many. And this applies to both the chow refill. I have no idea what that is. I'd have to go research that one. I haven't filled any of my chows yet. Most of my popular markers that I refill are Sketch. The chow is a little round one. All right, let's clean it. Now here's another tip that I learned. Take a piece of... here I'm using 2 pieces of Bounty paper towel. Bounty is good because it's a very thick paper towel that almost functions like a cloth. So you're going to take your Bounty paper towel, right? I have 2 sheets here. I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to use a nice pair of scissors. Cut it in half. These are my mixed media scissors, which I never really use, but I'm using it now. And what I want to make is 1-inch squares. And I'll show you why in a second. This was a tip that I learned and I was like, I've been using it ever since. All right, so I'm gonna cut about there. Doesn't have to be perfect. There. That's big. Yeah. Yeah, that one there doesn't look as good for 1 inch. But you see how much I'm getting from just 2 pieces? These are going to be all like my little cleaner. Yeah, I'm going to just go down the middle. This one is going to be kind of big. Alrighty. So typically aim for 1 inch. Here is what I have before. And this is another diet container that I didn't use. But any little container is good. I'm going to put these big ones on the bottom. Put this in here. Well, let me put these in here. Let me show you what I normally do. And it will last for a few weeks. Then eventually it'll dry because it will last you, like I say, a very long time. Squirt some in here. That's enough. And I close it. I will cap it back after I'm done. Now, with these little squares, and it will go all the way down like this. and it'll last a while. Now I can clean. And so it's like having those little alcohol wipes, but if this touches my nib like that, it's not ruining my marker because my marker is made out of the same thing. Colorless blender just means that there's no color added to it. And I'll show you how I get into the cap tool with it. So I'll use one piece and wipe, 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 wipe. Get up in there, because if you leave it gunky, it just messes up your nibs for coloring and ruin your nib, etc. Here I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to wipe my scale. And I'm also going to wipe my hand because I have all this stuff all over my hand. I am a hot mess right now. And even on here. All right. Now what I like to do with this, still has ink on, still has, colorless blender. I like to roll it up small and go into it like so. See? I'm cleaning the inside. Now another thing I was doing before, just on my own, and you should let these kind of dry out a little bit before you cap it. I was also, this is a, container for my medication. And here, Q-tips. These are some Walmart Q-tips. You can get Dollar Tree Q-tips, whatever makes you happy. And I was doing this. Also, this is another option, but this takes longer. Wet the Q-tip, and I was going down in here like so. Just right now, and I wipe. But this now keeps this wet longer. And I would wipe, 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 and then also come up here and wipe. Yes, this is like cleaning jewelry at this point. It's like, oh my gosh. But when you get your markers nice and clean, these are some 10-year-old markers. They will repay you by working well. You don't have to keep changing nibs as often. Alrighty, I'm just using the dry side just to kind of dry this out for the sake of the video. Alrighty, so now that's at 9 ounces and it's considered full, okay? Now, let's go into the nib. Why do I need to change this nib? Okay, so I zoomed down some and I'm going to show you what my nib looks like. Okay, my nib is not supposed to have that little curve. You see that little weird curve right there? It's supposed to be straight. There. Hope you guys can see that. I know I can see it. So it's supposed to be nice and straight. Let me show you a straight one. Yeah. This is my other marker, my E55, which is not clean. But you see, that's a straight nib. The other one just has a little point that's curving. So now we're going to change this little curved weird nib. Alrighty, I'm zooming down here. Okay, so now I'm going to take my tweezer, pull this out. Whoops, that of course went wrong. Gosh, this is almost bone dry at this point. And the replacement brush nib is this. Copic Sketch and Chow, so that's both markers. Super brush, spare nib, 3 in a pack, okay? And I will link this below. Be careful when you're buying them because you just want to make sure you pick up the right one. So I'm going to link it for Scrapbook Pal. They have the best prices and they're pretty much always in stock. Create an account, put it on a wish list. So every time, that's what I do. Seriously. Put it in my wish list there at Scrapbook Pal, so I'll always know that I'm buying the right thing. So here is my brand new nib there, nice and pretty. Okay, and now I'm going to take it. You don't know how hard this is to do this, filming this and being overhead. There, and just push it in. There we go. About that. Okay? Then now I can start turning the marker like so. Alrighty, I'm going to cap it. I'll come back to it and show you guys that it does full up. Now I still have ink on my hand, so I'm going to use All right, I'm gonna back the camera out. I'm storing it right now, facing down, just to let the ink go down, okay? What am I using? The isopropyl alcohol. Ooh. Guys, today, it's raining right now too, like crazy. I'm gonna clean my hand. Just to get some of this stick off. The ink is a little bit sticky, okay? Let's check on that ink. See? E53, full already, there. See it, nice and refilled. And that's the new nib installed, okay? Now, let's talk about the other nib. Let's go into my E13 marker. Yeah, that's a chisel end. All right. Let's talk about the new nib. And it's new to me, and I've never heard anybody else talk about it. Only one video talked about it. And I was like, that's a good idea. So, I'm installing more of a fine tip nib. Not as fine as a Copic original marker. Copic original markers are the first version of the Sketch. They're a square marker, and they have a little fine tip like a pen. And it's easier to color with the brush. So then they came out with this brush thing. Now, I don't use chisel, but then sometimes when you're coloring and you want to get into a tight space, you may want to be like, okay, I wouldn't mind a combo of brush and fine, not super fine. Original Copic marker, I'll show you a picture now. That has a super fine. This is called the medium round. I have one installed here, okay? So on one end, and I'm only doing it because I have to buy a replacement nib and I'm getting rid of my chisel, which I never use anyway. I have brush on one end, and then that's the medium round on the other. It is not as fine as the Copic original, but I'm using this on my skin tone markers. So I didn't have to buy a lot of these, and they're not a bad price point to, you know, just to change out a few. I wouldn't do this on my other colors, my pinks, my blues. There's no reason to. Unless I'm coloring, if you're coloring something that you can't control your brush nib and you want to get in real tight all the time, then yes. If you're not using that chisel, change it out. And this is broad enough that I can pull it to refill it and not have a problem. So this is my E11. This is my E00. There again, you can see it, medium round. And here on E01. So anything that I'm doing skin tone is what I decided to put it on, along with brush on the other end. That is this. This is the replacement. Copic Sketch, medium round. Optional nib. Love this. Great price point, and you get 5. With the super brush, what I just replaced, that's only 3. So here, I just bought like 2 or 3 packs. I honestly, every time I went into Scrapbook Pal and I ordered a refill, because I've been having to buy these refills now. I parked my markers for 10 years. Yes, some of them color still and all of that, but now I'm realizing, yes, they're not miracles, so some of them are drying out. So I'll buy my refills in sections, two or three at a time, and then I'll pick up one of this. And a super brush too, because sometimes when they're out of stock, you gotta wait to get them back in. So now on my E13, what I have here, this is what I use for skin tone, but obviously I did not change this one yet. So this is another brush alternative. So that's my super brush. That's the round, medium round. And I was so happy when I saw that in the video. I'm like, because I never used that. So, but I will pull this one out for refilling. Take this, pop it out. I like my tweezer for that. And their tweezer is specially made to pull. It's not just like a regular tweezer. And then push this in. You want to come all the way down. Don't be afraid of the marker. There. Now, seeing that my marker is all nice and gunky right there, let's pull out my little trusty red box. and let's clean while I'm waiting for it. Just take this. I don't have to touch the nib. I can come all the way up close to it. But if I accidentally touch it, that's what I was trying to do first with the isopropyl alcohol. But I was actually I ended up ruining my marker. And I realized, how do you know it's ruined? It's full and it's still coloring splotchy and it's not blending right. There it is refilling right now. You see that? Now here, I'm gonna clean the other end. Just wipe, wipe, wipe. Oh gosh, guys, you don't know how hard this is to do this, to hold it in my hand like this and clean. And just clean the marker. It can clean the entire barrel on the outside. That's the one good thing I notice about Copics as well. So, well, this marker is nice and full. Also, I can use it now to clean this. I obviously cleaned it recently, that's why it's not messy. Stick it in there. Just rub it around a few times. Wad it up. There I go. See? Clean. If you want to go way deep in it, that's a time when you can go back to using Q-tip. This is my dirty Q-tip though. But Q-tip from the E53. But I would wet it up with the same colorless blender and go in there. I could dip it in this and, you know, go around in here. So that's the two things I work with. Bounty cut into 1-inch squares and soaked in some colorless blender. You can do it one at a time. There's no reason to. It stays for a long time in this. And then also Q-tips. I find Q-tips, I feel like a jeweler doing this sometimes, you know? But I want these markers, these expensive markers, to last a very long time. Okay, crafters, so for me, what works? 1-inch squares with my colorless blender, my various ink colorless blender, old bottle. It will last you a long time. This is over 10 years old. It's getting there though, because I've been using it lately. And also some Q-tips. You know, you don't have to buy expensive Q-tips. I just use my little Walmart Q-tips. And I prefer, for my sanity, the scale method. You're looking at 9 grams with both caps off, okay? That's what you're aiming for. And there I have a nice refill clean marker. And with a new nib for getting into fine lines. There you go. That's what it'll look like. As opposed to, see the difference? This is thicker, that's thinner. So for skin tone, if I have to get into something tight, I like having that option. You don't have to get it, but it's an idea. I thought that was a cool idea when I saw it on a video. I was like, that's nice. I'm gonna put that one back because I can reuse that one. Alrighty, crafters, until the next video. Clean up your Copics. Take care of them. Look at Scrapbook Pal to either add more Copics to your set. They sell both sketch, chow, and original. If you are buying from Scrapbook Pal, make sure when you pop in a color, like you type E01 and you see all the markers that come, they'll show you everything, including the refill. If you're looking for a sketch, make sure you read that it says Copic Sketch. Don't just click, 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 because then you may end up with a chow and you didn't want a chow and or you end up, you know, yeah. And if you're not really interested in the original, don't get it. Brush nibs, yeah, that's the way to go, to be honest with you guys. And if you're going to spend this kind of money, go with the brush nib. And then do that medium round then if you want to still have that point. And also, whatever colors that you use often and you're slowly running out of, buy refills and buy them soon, because people are coloring still and these things go in and out of stock and then they don't restock quickly. Then you're going to be on a hunt, and sometimes I did the hunt for a little while and it wasn't fun. Alrighty, crafters, on to the next video. Stay crafty, my friends. Bye.